What's going on, Bengals fans? Stone Shields on hand for another edition of Bengals Breakdown. And coming up on today's show, another 7-round mock draft from me. This is going to be my third one that we have done here at Bengals Breakdown. And I'm not sure, I probably will end up doing a fourth one. But this is mock draft 3.0 for me, and I really like this one. I would say it's definitely my favorite one to this point. So we're going to be breaking down those selections for the Cincinnati Bengals here in a second. But first, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. That's youtube.com/BengalsTV. Our goal here is to try to get to 19,000 subscribers before we head down to our Chat Sports headquarters in Dallas for the NFL draft. We still need 876 subs in order to make that happen, and obviously we're going in a couple of weeks. So help us out. Hit that sub button. I think we can get there. 19,000 is the next goal. So help us out and subscribe today. All right, so I ran it through the PFF simulator as I typically do, and we'll kind of break down exactly who was off the board. We'll go more in depth, obviously, with the first and second round, and then from there, some lesser, known players that we will discuss beyond that. So here are the sim picks. Cam Ward going number 1 overall to Tennessee. At this point, I'd be shocked if he did not. Shedeur Sanders actually went second to Cleveland here in this draft. And by the way, I kind of think you don't see this a ton with a lot of these, draft analysts putting out their mock drafts. If I'm Cleveland, I would heavily consider Shedeur Sanders. Travis Hunter, 3 to the Giants. Armand Membou, 4 to the Pats. Mason Graham, 5 to the Jaguars. Ashton, Jeanty, 6 to the Las Vegas Raiders. Moving on, we got Abdul Carter, 7 to the Jets. Jedi Barron, 8 to the Panthers. Will Campbell, 9 to the Saints. Jamar Stewart, 10 to the Bears. Jihad Campbell, guy that we've talked about at length here, 11 to the Niners. Tyler Warren, 12 to the Dallas Cowboys. Jalen Walker off the board at number 13 overall. To the Miami Dolphins, got Will Johnson off the board as well. They're at 14, and 15 is Michael Williams, and 16 is Donovan Ezaraku going to the Arizona Cardinals, which leaves the Bengals, round 1, pick number 17 with Malaki Starks, safety out of Georgia. Spent some time talking about Malaki Starks on this channel in the past. He's a guy that I believe is ready to go straight into the NFL at this point and be able to produce at a really, really high level when you're talking about a guy like Malaki Starks. I think he's great in the run game as well. I think he is a willing tackler. He really is a cerebral player as well. And the Bengals really struggled with that tackling ability this past season. And I think Starks can come in immediately and help with that. You worry about him, being in a straight line race with a speedster wide receiver. That really is kind of the only knock on Malaki Starks. But I think you bring him in, and he is an upgrade over really both Geno Stone and Jordan Battle at this point. I think really both those safeties that are people are talking about with Nick Amon-Warrior out of South Carolina and Malaki Starks as well. I think both of those guys could come in and really boost the Cincinnati Bengals defense. But in this situation, I am going with Malaki Starks. And if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals and you get Starks at 17 overall, it feels like you got a really good player. It feels like you have a guy that can start immediately. And it feels like you have a guy that can really be a foundational piece on your defense for years to come. Here's who else was on the board, round 1, for the Cincinnati Bengals. Mike Green, James Pierce Jr., Colston Loveland, which, if some people think Cincinnati should take Colston Loveland, I can't help you at that point. You're too far gone at that point if you think Cincinnati should take Colston Loveland. Gray Zabel and Tyler Booker, also some offensive linemen there at that spot. Really, the only guy that I pondered taking over him in this spot was Mike Green. Then you have the off-the-field kind of concerns with Green. So ultimately I went with a guy that I really like in Malaki Starks. Pin comment time. Would you draft Malaki Starks at number 17 overall? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section of today's show. Type Y for yes or N for no. If that ad comes here on YouTube, that's totally fine. You can ignore it, take advantage of it, get down in the comments. Let us know what you think. 5 more picks for the Cincinnati Bengals. We're not going to break through the entirety of round 2 here, but we'll just get to recent picks here in round 2. Got Alec Ayamanor out of Stanford, going 43 overall to the 49ers. Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State going to Dallas. TJ Sanders going to Indianapolis. Jaden Higgins, wide receiver out of Iowa State. Trey Amos going to the Arizona Cardinals. And Braden Swinson going to the Miami Dolphins. Cincinnati picks round 2, pick number 49, and I am taking JT Tuimoloau out of Ohio State. This is who Mel Kiper has mocked to the Bengals in the second round, and I'm in full agreement here with Mel Kiper Jr. I think you're picking at a spot in the first round, that 17 overall selection, where you might have to be kind of forcing it if you take an edge rusher, right? You might not, be taking a guy that you fully love. I don't think there's any reason to do that, and I think Tuimoloau, there's a good chance he is still available for you in the second round. This is a guy that's played a ton of football, right? Really had a phenomenal career at Ohio State. As a sophomore, he made some outstanding plays. People thought he was going to pop off as a junior and then leave for the NFL. Junior year was still solid, but he didn't have the same type of year that people were expecting out of him. He decides to come back along with several other dudes on that Ohio State defense. He goes nuclear in 2024 for the Buckeyes, helps lead them to a national championship. This guy is an incredibly tough football player. He's a gritty football player, and I think that toughness, that grittiness, and really that championship medal that he displayed at Ohio State could translate well to the NFL, more specifically to the Cincinnati Bengals. And as I've talked about on here, I'm not an Ohio State fan, but there's too many Michigan dudes on this team. You got to balance it out. You got to get some Buckeyes in here. And with Sam Hubbard retiring especially, I think bringing in a guy like JT Tuimoloau could be good for this defense. Other available guys that I could have taken instead of Tuimoloau, Maxwell Harrison still kind of slid down there. People really like him out of Kentucky at that corner spot. Javon Ravel Jr. out of ECU, another good corner that was available. Landon Jackson, some people would argue to take him over Tuimoloau. Ariante Ursery at that offensive line spot. And Benjamin Morrison, who a lot of Bengals fans like talking about because obviously there is that connection between Morrison and Al Golden. We'll continue with our mock draft here in a minute, but first, want to give a shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks, because today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Springtime is here and baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks lineup. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash today. On Prize Picks, you can mix and match player projections from different sports. Combine your favorite baseball players with players from basketball, hockey, esports, and much more. They also have the Flex Play here at Prize Picks, and this is what we're rolling with here as far as our Flex Play goes here at our Chat Sports offices, going with a season-long option for football. Going with the less than for Jared Goff, passing yards. Also going with the less than Travis Kelce, receiving yards. Also going with the less than Jaden Daniels, rushing yards as well. That is our season-long Prize Picks for football season. That obviously is still a couple of months away. Best thing about the Flex Play, you don't have to get all 3 correct. You can still miss one and have an opportunity to double your money. So download the app today. Use code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app. Use code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. It's Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, third round selection around the corner. Here's some recent picks that have gone off the board. You got Demetrius Knight out of South Carolina going to Dallas. Jared Wilson, Mason Taylor, Jordan Phillips, and Kevin Winston Jr. all going off the board before Cincinnati picks at 81. And I've got the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Cameron Williams, offensive lineman out of Texas. And really, this is a value pick for me at this point in the draft. I was shocked that he was available for me at 81 overall, so I took him there in the third round. And I think the Bengals probably would do the same if he is available in real life. Now, Cameron Williams, Bengals obviously have a massive need at that interior offensive line spot, that offensive guard spot, right? I don't think Cameron Williams can play inside, right? He was a tackle at Texas, and I think he is going to be a tackle in the National Football League as well. And, but that doesn't mean, not to take him just because you have 2 starters there at that tackle position. Remember last year, Orlando Brown Jr. got hurt, and Amarius Mims was fighting through stuff as well. So it's good to have some depth there at those tackle spots. Obviously, guard is your biggest concern. But if you can get a guy like Cameron Williams, in the third round, shoot. I mean, he's a guy that is a first or second round pick, probably not a first round pick, but he's probably a second round pick. He's available for you here at number 81 overall. I'm taking him because of the value, not necessarily the fact that, oh, he's a tackle, we don't need a tackle. That's okay. Having a depth at that position, I think, is a really, really good thing. And he's a monster out there on the football field, and a lot of people think he's going to develop into a really good player in the NFL. Would you draft Cameron Williams in round 3? Let me know what you guys think in the comments of today's show. Type A for yes or B for no. I love this pick here. Round 4, pick number 119. Willie Lampkin out of North Carolina. In our first mock draft version 1.0, I also had Cincinnati taking Willie Lampkin, and I ran it back here again as well. This is a guy that is unbelievable at playing football. This guy is tough, and this guy really has great fundamentals as well. The only reason that he is going to slide at this point in the draft because he is an undersized guy. The traits aren't necessarily there. He gets there to where he needs to get to on just willpower, athleticism, great knowledge, football IQ, great tendencies, great leverage that he plays with, does Willie Lampkin. And some people even float around the possibility that, hey, he could be the next Jason Kelce type of player, who Kelce, of course, one of the best, if not the greatest center of all time. He doesn't necessarily have all the traits, but he was able to make it work and go out there and play football at a really, really high level. I love Willie Lampkin. I think if you get him in the 4th round, that's an absolute steal for you, and he could develop into a starter for you before the season ends. Kobe King out of Penn State, who I've got here in round 5. I think Kobe King's a guy that could come into your football team and really help from a run-stopping perspective on early downs. Does he need some improvement in coverage? Absolutely. But, playing at a big-time school like Penn State, the Bengals need another linebacker, right? Jermaine Pratt's still technically on the football team, but I'd be shocked if he was still that guy. Once the season comes around, I think it's only a matter of time before he is off this football team. Obviously, you're bringing in Oren Burks in free agency from Philadelphia, but I believe a guy like Kobe King can come in there and really develop. He's not somebody that's going to be able to give you a ton right away. I think he can do some early down stuff, run-stopping stuff, and perhaps develop into a guy that could be your starter alongside Logan Wilson. But overall, I think that'd be a good pick at pick 153 in round 5. Zeek Biggers here for the last pick for the Cincinnati Bengals, round 6, pick 193 out of Georgia Tech. This guy is a behemoth, and that's really why I'm taking him. The size from this guy is absolutely unbelievable, and I think that alone could get a team to kind of pull the trigger a little bit early on a guy like Zeek Biggers. But I think Cincinnati could use that size at that spot along the interior defensive line. And I think Big Z could certainly provide that out of Georgia Tech and perhaps be a steal for you at the end of the draft. Rounding up what we have done here, 7-round mock draft, but Cincinnati, of course, only has 6 picks. I'm going with Malaki Starks, round 1, pick number 17 at that safety spot. JT Tuimoloau, round 2, edge spot. I really love those first 3 picks. Cameron Williams happens to slide down out of Texas. Great value there at number 81. I'm a big Willie Lampkin guy out of North Carolina. Really love him and his game. Those four picks really fire me up. And then you got Kobe King and Zeek Biggers kind of rounding up the draft here for me in the Bengals 6 picks. Let me know. Grade this Bengals mock draft for me in the comments section of today's show. I think this one was pretty good. I think this one was pretty solid. PFF gave me a B+ on this one. So let me know what you guys think, A, B, C, D, or F.